Hey, Internet. I'm glad you're stuck around for part two of my podcast, the That's a Thing podcast, episode 0.01, 2018 Game of the Year. I'm Kevin Brown, also known as Raylith. You can find me on the internet as Raylith. So, because people actually liked this podcast and apparently like listening to me talk, we're going to keep doing it. Right now, I'm trying different recording setups and situations, which is why we're not even to episode one yet. This is all experimenting, but it's given me a chance to produce free content with minimal work. And that's always good because when you're the content creator, such as myself, no, I don't like the sound of that. Anyway, let's talk about the news. So I apparently forgot to talk about Kage. And it's a shame because I really, really like Kage. He's a cool fighter in Virtua Fighter. I really like it when his on the ground attack is he jumps in the air and does like a cool head dive on you. I think that's great. The Street Fighter V Kage is a little less great. He seems just sort of like normal evil Ryu. My big problem with him is I think it's his tiny little horns, because they put tiny little horns on Ryu when really I think he'd look a lot better if he just had one like big horn and then another kind of tiny horn. So you got a little crescent moon shaped like between the two horns. I think that would go more for what they're trying to do, which is like a semi-Oni Ryu, which it's cool. I like the idea that Oni is like the full Dark Hado. Like if you go all in, you turn into an ogre. That's neat. That's pretty Japanese. I can dig it. Keeping going on fighting games, we're going to segue in to Dragon Ball FighterZ is apparently dead or is dying. I think it kind of sucks that Toei is killing it because everyone seemed to like it. Or, well, not everyone seemed to like it. I mean, obviously it's a niche thing, but I don't think anyone looked at that game. Well, most people didn't look at that game and think it was garbage. Like it wasn't like those like Naruto fighting games that just sent to die. I think I had one. I had one of the Ultimate Ninja Storms. I think it was 2 or 3. It was the one where they did the Great Ninja War. That was the one I played. I kind of liked it because it turned into Dynasty Warriors for part of it. And you were playing Sasuke as he killed a bunch of dudes. And I was like, yeah, Sasuke, everyone's favorite. But for real, to segue out of that stupid news story, they're making JoJo Battle Royale in Japan, an arcade game where you're JoJo characters in a Battle Royale game. And I think that's kind of cool, because to me that means we're approaching our Juni Tyson game, which is just Battle Royale but with superpowers. And I would adore Battle Royale but with superpowers. The heater has probably come on. I'm not going to stop or edit it out. So if you hear it, just take some comfort knowing that I'm toasty and warm. And you can feel toasty and warm in your heart, too. And now, I got to get rid of the last bit of news, or video game news. I mean, there's other news. I'm not going to talk about real news, because you shouldn't trust me on anything I say, especially about real news, is that Hearthstone had balance changes. And they kind of happened randomly. They did some big nerfs to Druid. Druid got its 2 ramp cards bumped up a mana, which means in Hearthstone terms they're unplayable. Odd Paladin's going away because Call to Arms is now 6 mana, which makes it even for even Paladin. That's great. And they nerfed Kingsbane Rogue, which I hate. I hate that deck, and I'm glad it's dead. I want it to be deader. But it is a shame that Shudderwock Shaman is dead because Serenite Chain Gang doesn't copy itself. It just makes another Serenite Chain Gang, which is that's kind of sad because I like Shudderwock. It was really stupid, and that's what I like about Hearthstone is that it's stupid and bad because I'm stupid and bad. So we get together. And that's all the video game news. Anime news is when this is going up. High Score Girl is on Netflix, and you guys should all watch High Score Girl because if you like arcade games and anime, you should watch High Score Girl. Some might say in the future, High Score Girl may be one of my anime of the year. And you should probably watch all of it to understand why. I can definitely say that maybe me will be putting in a big push for Street Fighter II Pixel Guile as supporting character of the year. And you should watch High Score Girl to figure out why. Netflix, give me money. I really want money. Or just some of that High Score Girl merch. That'd be pretty good. Give me some of that. I'm trying not to blow out the levels here. I think I might have been doing that. Got a little too excited. Because I know your guys are excited. Because we're going into Video Game of the Year. Oh boy. This is my Game of the Year. Which is the only one that matters. And also some of your Game of the Year. I mean, really, so let's wrap. Let's sit down and talk, children. Game of the Year awards don't really matter. The only thing that does matter is the games you played and kind of which ones you enjoyed. A person can have their own opinions, and it doesn't matter. So, like, if Giant Bomb gives Game of the Year to something you don't like, it doesn't make your experience invalid. So just don't get mad at people for having different opinions. You can just kind of go, okay, I respect that. And that's what I'm going to be trying to do when I'm reading your guys' Game of the Year submissions. That's why I wanted to ask everyone out there to submit their Games of the Year. So we can just kind of all talk and chill and share our good times. But before you get to share, I get to share what my Games of the Year were. And before that, I have to talk about two games that are ineligible. That's the word. Ineligible for being Game of the Year. And those are Deltarune and Warframe. If Deltarune I knew was all the way out, it would be my Game of the Year. I cannot even lie. That game as is wonderful. But I want it. I want more of that Undertale, that Toby Fox just dream experience. Just give it to me. It gives me all the feelings I had when Homestuck was good, but none of the bad parts. It's just all good, and I love it. I adore it. I think everyone should go for it. That game's great, but I can't count it because personally, it's not all the way out yet. So it's a shame. And in a different boat, Warframe is really good. Even though right now I'm kind of a little cool on it, but I've really enjoyed my time with Warframe. But it's been going for 5 years, so I don't really want to put it on a Game of the Year list because it's just sort of what am I going to really do? With Warframe, it's changed, and it does change all the time. Right now, I still like it. I'm probably going to play a little bit after I get this all done and do some drawings. I actually have to draw a comic or two, that's fun. But yeah, those two games, I'm giving them some props. So for my top 5 games of the year, I'm going to start things off with PlayStation 2 Spider-Man at number 5. It was phenomenal. I think that's, in my opinion, how you do an open world game. You're getting around. The world was fun. I liked all the unlocking stuff when you got your cool suits. I liked how Spider-Man like controlled how it was the Batman system, but the gadgets really were overpowered in a good way. So I used them more because when I was playing the Batman Arkham games, it really, I really wasn't having like not fun, but just I was having issues because I wouldn't use any of the other stuff. I was just punching and countering. Whereas in Spider-Man, I kind of got more into shooting webs and throwing like the web grenades, and it was actually effective, which made a big deal. It's why I really liked that game. Um, I'm going to take a quick break and let's see if this doesn't break the recording. All right. Good luck, me. Okay, so we'll see how that went. But I'm back. I didn't know how dry your throat gets when you're actually doing a podcast. Like, I really didn't know that. You'd think I would because everyone's always drinking water, but I didn't. So now I do. I know. That's great. Let's keep going. Let's move on to my number 4 game of the year, which is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I was surprised because I don't consider myself a Call of Duty bro. The last Call of Duty I played was Modern Warfare 2. And that kind of killed my desire to play Call of Duty. And then I just kind of it'd come out every year, and I knew it was okay because the base Call of Duty multiplayer, it's fine. It's fine. They can't really mess it up unless they do something horrible to it. But it's Call of Duty. It's okay. But this year with the blackout mode was to me the standout because I had tried Fortnite and I really didn't like it. It's too building. I don't like the building. And PUBG, my poor Lappy can't take that sort of game. And I don't have an Xbox, so I can't play the terrible port. So when Call of Duty, which has good shooting and stable graphics and everything, just was putting out a Battle Royale mode, and I played it and I liked it. And I actually enjoyed the multiplayer too. I pretty much went back and forth. I'd do a little blackout, and then I'd do a couple of multiplayer matches to kind of get used to the shooting. And it was really nice. Zombies sucks. Zombies is terrible, and I hate it. I'm glad they made a version of that game without zombies, because that mode is the dumbest. I watched a stream that Plague did where he was going through how you actually have to beat one of those zombies maps, and it's the most arcane bullcrap I've ever seen. It's like you have to kill 3 guys and then get a skull and then use an acid trap on the skull and then hunt around the map because now there'll be 3 windows that are opened, and if you shoot through the windows, it'll spawn another lever in a catacomb, and then you gotta pull, and it's just like I thought those maps were just like Left 4 Dead, where you'd be going through a map and then get to the end, but apparently it's the most inscrutable game that's ever been. So yeah, Zombie sucks. The rest of that game is fantastic. And at my number 3 is Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter, I played I think my first Monster Hunter was 4U? I think it was, it was 4U for 3DS, and then I played Generations. And I really liked both those games. I put a lot of hours into them. Like, baby time for normal Monster Hunter, I think I put like 80 in one and 50 in another, which is, it's not a lot for a Monster Hunter, but for any realistic game, it's a lot, and that's kind of how I treat it, is that I played those games for a lot. And I enjoyed them, but playing on the PS4 where I had a good controller and 2 sticks so I could like look at the monster and change my directions was really good. And I like that game. I like it a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be getting the expansion because it's sort of like I usually in a Monster Hunter game I try to hunt every monster at least once, and that's kind of my I beat the game is if I beat every monster once, except some of the like super monsters. I don't count those because I don't want to get to like ultra rank. I think well it's just I have a it's going to sound hypocritical because I talked a lot about Warframe, but I have a real aversion to grinding in video games. I don't like grinding a lot in video games. It just real annoys me, which is it's kind of like I know, and it's going to sound real bad, but it feels especially when it's grinding and I'm doing the same thing over and over again. So like I have to kill this monster like 7 times because it has a jewel and the jewel just won't drop. Like I hate that. I despise it. Unless I can like kill it in one hit, then it's really good. I like that. We'll talk about that later. My number 2 game of the year is God of War. That game is almost perfect. I would say it's just it hits in every aspect. It's what a triple A, or however Jim Sterling does that weird noise. Triple A. I can't do it. I can't do voices. I'm not going to do them. Anyway, it's now a triple A game. Triple A game should be. It's bombastic. It's controllable, it's good, the music's good, the story's good, the characters are good, and I think it does a great job of redeeming Kratos, a character that was not a character, and it made him likable and relatable in a way, and I gotta give that game props. Good job. But my game of the year is Dragon Quest XI. I adore it. I know I said I don't like grinding in video games, but I really do like Japanese role-playing games. I love JRPGs. They are great. And Dragon Quest XI is just the most solid JRPG I've played in a long time. It's very classic. It's very I don't even would call it safe because it does a lot of cool stuff in it, and it plays with it like the subject matter and what you would expect that kind of classic JRPG to do. The characters are great. I think it has one of the best like post-game true ending scenarios that's ever been in a video game, and it does the thing where when you're playing it, you don't want the game to stop, and the game is basically saying, "I'm not done yet either. We can keep going," and the adventure continues. It's like it's a never-ending adventure in a really good way, and when it does finally all conclude, you feel like it's worth it. Only problem is that MIDI music's not super good. That's my biggest complaint of that entire game, is that if you just gave it like orchestral music of those same Dragon Quest songs, then it would work really well. And now I'm going to take a quick little pause and get a drink, and then I'll be reading your guys' game of the year and discussing about it. Oh boy. Alrighty, I'm back. I took a drink. So now I'm going to be reading your guys' tweets in no particular order. If I don't get to read your tweet, I mean, I read all the tweets, but I might not read them all aloud because some of them might be redundant. Some of them are kind of jokey. Hold on 1 second. Gotta pause this for a second. Ugh. See, I tried to pause it so I wouldn't burp, and you get to hear the burps. We're not a Klimt stream. We don't just burp on camera and keep going. You have class here. Love you, Klimt. You're great. All right, so we're going to start us off. I'm just going to the bottom of my tweets, and we're going to say Gloompunk at Ghost Raven says, Monster Hunter World is probably my game of the year, since it's the only game I played that's come out this year that I remember having the most fun with. Yeah, that sounds about right. Monster Hunter's really good. I think that's a fine choice. Next, we have Fat Beerus, a.k.a. at Virtual Spivvy, and they say, Smash Brothers Ultimate because the world needs to know of the stench they've been building on the Melee fans when they bought that game to complain about it. Also, it's pretty cool that Pichu can beat up Yoshi. So I didn't really play Smash Brothers this year. And I should probably read these beforehand so I don't say anything naughty. But I think that Smash Brothers would be like around 7 or 8 on my Game of the Year list without having played it because it's solid. Like I don't hate Smash Brothers. I hate the people that play it competitively. And not like the people that are good that play it competitively. I hate the people that are bad that can play it competitively. Because it's just that hoity-toity, but they're still terrible. Hate it. I don't like those people. But we're going to try to be positive around here. So if you're a professional and you're good at Smash Brothers, you're okay. And if you're just playing it to have fun, you're okay. And we won't talk about those others. Let's go on to Magic Yulebot, a.k.a. I can't read that. It's all one word. And they say, Monster Hunter World was such an engaging experience that despite it being my first Monhun, I spent over 200 hours on it in my first month. And man, he also says, or he or she, we don't know here, so I try to say they. I'm now playing Generations Ultimate. Monster Hunter World is so good. To get more of it, I went to a mechanically inferior version to get my fix. Oh man, you're in there. You're really in there. And Monster Hunter World is very good. A lot of people liked Monster Hunter World, such as John Campbell says, Monster Hunter World because I played it for 4 months and no other game that entire time. So much to do and a blast with a full party of the lads and a QT cat companion. Yeah, we all had our own cats. I put my cat Stinky. That was my companion. And we're going to keep on going up. If you did kind of a jokey post, I'm going to try not to read it because know that I read it and I chortled, but I'm not going to read it this time. Maybe next time if I'm doing like a full letters because I've run out of things to talk about. I'll probably read those. And then some people I didn't read because a lot of stuff was just talk about how Monster Hunter was good. Or if your name seems sort of sweary, like I might be doing a swear, I'm not gonna say it. But no, I read it and I give you like a good job. Anyway, Book of Mouths says God of War. Granted, I only played 3 games that released in 2018 and 2 were remasters, but it was still a great game. Really good story and gameplay felt great. Collectibles weren't overwhelming and the side content was fun. Loved hearing Mimir's boat stories. Yeah. I mean, God of War was like everything was good about it. I mean, here we'll move up to Nolan Lion at Nolan Lion. Also says God of War might be my pick for Game of the Year. All around solid gameplay, story, and art style, with Spooderman coming in at a close second. And a lot of people kind of said that, like, and it's hard to talk about God of War because it's just every part of it was pretty good. Like I was expecting it to be really good, and it was. So like people like Holly Gabe at Shonen 413 says God of War was great because it mechanically felt incredible, but had an engaging story that the mechanics reinforced, which I agree. And a lot of people said that too. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. So now I'm going to look for some stuff that is not Monster Hunter World or God of War, because I think we've said a lot to say about them. Laura at Flatina Tulip says Katamari Damacy reroll because there's a crab in that one level that wears little shoes on all its legs, and I think that's nice. That's very good. Katamari Damacy is quite good. I love that game. I think I like 2 a little more than 1. I think there's just a little bit more to do. But now we got to start talking about people like Spider-Man, like Lewd Skeletor. And Lewd Skeletor says Spider-Man. Been a fan of the character since I was a kid, and I think that this is my favorite version of the character. The writing and the swinging and the fighting were all on point. Yuri Lowenthal was Robert Downey Jr. levels of good casting and the best version of Doc Ock I've ever seen. And let's try to find some more Spider-Mans. Anyone else like the Spider-Man? Because I like Spider-Man. Let's look here. Yep, Dutch Potato at Matthew also says Spider-Man is my game of the year because it makes you feel like the Spoodermans, whatever that means. I also like how all the mechanics and characters in the story are perfect, especially Miles. I will protect that sweet boy with all my life, and that helps as well. I agree. They did a really good job with Miles Morales as Spider-Man. I hope that he turns into a Spider-Man in the sequel. I think there's a good chance because you don't introduce Miles if you're not going to make him a Spider-Man. I think we might be seeing him doing some spider mentoring programs. I think that's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. We got here some games that are not Spider-Man or Monster Hunter or God of War. We have Ash Perler saying DBZ Fighters. It's the first fighting in a while that I've had fun playing, no matter how good or bad I'm doing. Insanely tight controls, beautiful art, and all around tons of fun and love care put into the game. I feel bad for you because it might be over, but if you like fighters, then you know Arc System Works made it, and they've made a bunch of good games, and it's really, I'm glad if DBZ Fighters is what gets you into fighting games, and you got Arc System Works, you can play like any one of their games, and you're gonna like it too, and you're gonna it's a good entry point. I'm glad you in there with us knuckleheads. Clay Pride 147 says Tetris Effect. The beautiful visuals, captivating music, and hypnotic, tried-and-true gameplay of Tetris all coalesce into an experience that literally goes beyond the game itself and transcends its own medium. Wow, that was a good sentence you wrote there. Well done. I'm terrible at writing. You should end talking, but man, that's really good. Trevor at Faileth says Divinity Original Sin 2. Due to the fact that I'm able to recruit a night squirrel that rides a skeleton cat into battle. And you know what? Divinity 2 is on my list of games to play. Like, that, of all the games I missed this year, that's the one I'm like, next year I'm going to make time for it. I've seen just the little I've seen of that game. It looks great. That game looks so cool, and I want it. And let's see here. I think this will be the last one I read before I end this. And that's Dionico? Whatever. Dionico says Hitman 2. The game embraces all the zaniness that comes with the franchise while having the best design levels in any game this year. On top of that, it's all great stealth game. And yeah, that's also, I need to get on Hitman 1 and 2. But all you guys had some good games. You guys had some good games. If it didn't get to you, apologize. My throat's getting a little dry, and I don't want to talk anymore. I think we can all say that there's at least 1 or 2 games that came out this year that made us all happy, and that's pretty good. We can go into next year hoping we at least get 2. At least get 2. I mean, we're gonna get Remake 2 and DMCV. So that means we get 2 games. It's going to be great. We just got to play those 2, and we'll have a good time. Little news at the end. I'm probably going to be releasing a podcast every Wednesday. That's the current plan. If I'm going to ask for questions, I'll do them on Twitter. I'll try to read them again. I'm glad you guys keep listening, even though I kind of hate that you keep listening because that means I'm going to have to make more of these. Anyway, have a good rest of this year. Have a good winter break. However you see fit to celebrate it. Enjoy yourselves and have a good time. Later, nerds.